October 30th, 1950, Santurce, Puerto Rico. A humble barbershop becomes the epicenter of a revolution. Inside that shop, one man stood alone. No comrades, no escape plan, no chance. Just a bottle of Bacardi, a prayer to God, and a fierce love for Puerto Rico. His name was Vidal Santiago Díaz. And when the FBI, the Insular Police, and the National Guard came for him, he lit Molotov cocktails, turned up the radio, and started singing. They thought there were 30 nationalists inside. There was only one. Shot 4 times, buried on the rubble, left for dead. But when they dragged his body through the street, Vidal opened his eyes. Reporters screamed into their microphones, "Vidal está vivo!" But how did a barber, a man with scissors in one hand and a straight razor in the other, become the most dangerous man in Puerto Rico? Vidal Santiago Díaz was born on New Year's Day in 1910 in the town of Aguas Buenas. His father had been a lector, a reader of books, newspapers, and stories for illiterate tobacco workers, a respected man, a proud man, until the sugar companies arrived, took the land, and sent that old man to die in the cane fields. Vidal swore he would never die like his father did. He moved to Santurce, found work at Salón Boricua, a barbershop owned by José Maldonado Román. But Vidal had astigmatism. His first haircuts were disasters. José bought him glasses, fixed his vision, and changed his future. Then José died, not by age, but by medical genocide. A U.S. doctor named Cornelius Rhodes had allegedly injected cancer into him, part of a racist experiment. Pedro Albizu Campos, leader of the Puerto Rican National Party, gave Vidal the barbershop and the mission. Vidal gave free cuts to the poor, discounts to the elderly, but after witnessing the Ponce massacre, he gave something more, his life, to the revolution. By 1950, Vidal had stockpiled weapons inside a hidden panel beneath the shop. But someone ratted him out. The FBI came for him, they tortured him, electrocuted him, waterboarded him, starved him. For 2 weeks at Ramey Air Base, they beat him unconscious, and still, he gave them nothing. On October 30th, they surrounded his barbershop. They didn't come to talk. They brought rockets, tear gas, 50 caliber machine guns. Vidal grabbed his rifle, poured rum on the floor, lit his Molotovs. For 3 hours he held them off, alone. He was shot in the leg, the cheek, the ribs, lost 3 fingers. Buried under a collapsed staircase, they shot him in the head just to be sure, then mocked him, "Que viva Puerto Rico." But Vidal lived. They put him on trial the day he left the hospital, accused him of treason, sentenced him to 17 years. He just served 2. He left prison maimed but unbroken, and opened a new barbershop in Bayamón. And in 1982, at 72 years old, Vidal Santiago Díaz died peacefully in his home, not on a battlefield, not on a cane field, but on his own terms. I am Dyron Castro Torres, the genealogist, and I will attempt to answer this one question: where do stories like this begin? And now, it's time to tell their story. Here we have the 1950 U.S. Census of San Juan. Vidal Santiago Díaz, living with his wife Maria and their 4 children. They are all considered blancos. And as you can see right here, he's a barber at a barbershop. And in 1940, he was already the owner of the Salón Boricua. You can see right here, him and his family, but he's considered de color. And he's the owner of the barbershop. Vidal Santiago Díaz was born in 1910, and he's the legitimate son of Eugenio Santiago Pagan and his wife Margarita Díaz de los Santos, the paternal grandson of José Santiago and Josefa Pagan, and the maternal side is Juan Díaz and Juana de los Santos. His parents married in 1904 in Aguas Buenas, Eugenio Santiago Pagan, the son of Jose Santiago and Josefa Pagan. His wife, Margarita Diaz Santos, is the legitimate daughter of Juan Diaz and Juana Santos. And you can see right here, they are both listed as Trigueño. In 1875, Jose Santiago marries Josefa Pagan. Jose is the son of Juan de Gracia and Feliciana de los Santos, while Josefa is the daughter of Lucas Pagan and Francesca Baez. In 1836, in the town of Guaynabo, Juan de Gracia de Santiago, the legitimate son of Casimiro Santiago, and Juana Santana marries Feliciana de los Santos, the legitimate daughter of Julian de los Santos and Maria de Cardona. We'll come back to this line, this Casimiro Santiago and Juana Santana line, and let's focus on Feliciana de los Santos, because her parents married in 1811 Julian de los Santos, the legitimate son of Domingo de los Santos and Maria de Santiago. He's marrying Maria Cardona, the daughter of Lázaro Cardona and Maria Monserrate Avilés. In 1781, Lázaro Cardona Hernandez, the son of Andres Cardona and Maria Hernandez, marries Maria Monserrate Avilés Maldonado, the legitimate daughter of Juan Avilés and Maria Maldonado. In 1757, in Arecibo, Puerto Rico, Juan Avilés, son of Sergeant Major Ygnacio Avilés and Maria Rodriguez, marries Josefa Maldonado, the legitimate daughter of Lieutenant Casimiro Maldonado and Maria de Santiago. And finally, Lieutenant Cosme Maldonado dies in 1748 in Arecibo, Puerto Rico, the husband of Juana de Santiago. This is as far as this line goes, but the Maldonado family has deep roots in the area of Arecibo, and they were almost always militants and in the military. Now we'll get to his mother's line. This is Margarita Diaz's father, his baptism. Juan Quintin, the legitimate son of Antonio Diaz and Maria de los Angeles Santiago. And you see right here, they were pardos libres, or free people of color, usually meaning mixed generations, generationally mixed between Spanish, Indian or Taino, and African. Juan Quintin Diaz's parents marry in 1835 in Guaynabo, Puerto Rico, and Antonio Diaz is the legitimate son of Juan Pedro Diaz and Agustina del Rosario, and he's marrying Maria de los Angeles Santiago, the legitimate daughter of Casimiro Santiago and Juana de Santana. Now, if those names sound familiar, you would be correct, because you see on the father's side, Casimiro Santiago and Juana de Santana. So, Vidal Santiago's parents were actually second cousins through this line of Casimiro Santiago and Juana de Santana, who married in 1799 in Bayamón. You see right here, Casimiro Santiago, the legitimate son of Josef Antonio and Petrona Garcia, is marrying Juana Evangelista Santana, the legitimate daughter of Juan Santana and Juana Concepcion, and they are pardos libres, free people of color. If we follow the Diaz line, you'll see in 1810, Juan Pedro marries Agustina del Rosario in Guaynabo, Puerto Rico. Juan Pedro is the son of Remigio Díaz and Juana de Jesus. And Agustina is the legitimate daughter of Eugenio del Rosario and Maria del Rosario Aponte. On the Rosario line, you see here in 1786 in Guaynabo, Puerto Rico, Eugenio del Rosario, the legitimate son of Juan del Rosario and Juana Hernandez, and they are considered morenos libres, or free black people, and he's marrying Maria del Rosario, the legitimate daughter of Jose del Pilar Rosario and Rosa Marcelena. She's usually called Aponte, and you see that they are pardos libres, differentiating pardo from morenos libre. All color, but the morenos are usually considered of African descent, and the pardos are generationally mixed. And finally, on the Diaz line, you see right here, this is a marriage record in 1772 in Guaynabo, Puerto Rico. Remigio, Moreno Esclavo, black slave of Doña Maria Diaz, and he's marrying Juana, the daughter of Jerónima de Jesus, and she's from Toa Alta. Vidal Santiago Díaz survived what should have been his end. He had been tortured, shot, buried, and mocked. And still, he lived. He opened a new barbershop, served his people, and in 1982, at the age of 72, Vidal Santiago Díaz died peacefully at his home. Sergeant Major Ygnacio Avilés, Teniente Cosme Maldonado, Casimiro Santiago, Juana de Santana, Remigio Díaz. Vidal was not alone in that barbershop. He carried generations on his shoulders, soldiers, lectors, freedom fighters, and the enslaved. And when he stood, they stood with him. While your ancestors may have not held Molotov cocktails, they held something else. A name, a story, a memory worth uncovering. Find them. They're waiting for you.